Hi all, welcome to Challah Making 101. I finally filmed the process of making challah, which is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while now. I'll be using the recipe from myjewishlearning.com, although I've made some slight changes to it to adapt it to my taste. I'll post a list of ingredients in the description down below, as well as a small recipe recap type thing. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye. First, prepare 11 grams of yeast in a quarter liter of lukewarm water with a tablespoon of caster sugar and leave it for about 5 to 10 minutes. Meanwhile, prepare 770 grams of flour, 50 grams of sugar, and a quarter teaspoon of salt in a mixing bowl. Form a grater and add 2 eggs and a yolk and 60 milliliters of sunflower oil and start mixing. Then you're going to want to add the water and mix it some more until most of the flour is in the dough. I usually add a tiny bit of water in my glass to rinse it off, and I add it to the dough to make a higher hydration dough, which will conserve a little longer. You'll see it's sticky, but don't worry, as you knead it will assemble better, let's say. Right, it's time to knead. Turn over your bowl and put all the dough on your surface. You first start with one hand because it can be sticky and you don't want both hands with sticky dough on them. You should knead for about 10 to 15 minutes. It's really important as it makes your dough more supple and your challah will be nice and fluffy. Once your dough is a bit more together, let's say, you can start kneading with both your hands. And it should get smoother and smoother as you go. Once it's smooth and doesn't stick, form a ball with it. To make sure the bottom is also nice and smooth, you'll want to spin it on your surface. After that, you should oil a clean mixing bowl. You oil it to make sure your dough doesn't stick to it as it rises. You'll also want to oil the dough itself. Then cover the bowl with a damp, clean kitchen towel. It's time to let it rise. I usually leave my dough to rise in the oven with just the light on, as it creates the perfect environment. You should let it rise for about 2 hours or until your dough has risen to twice its initial size. Once your dough is ready, take off the cover and punch it in the face. Degas it. Then you'll have to choose if you want to make 2 big challot or 4 small ones, and divide your dough accordingly. I'm making 4 small ones, so I divide it in 4 smaller doughs. I swear. And I weigh them as I go to make sure they are all the same. Once that's done, I divide the smaller doughs in 3 parts to make the braids. One, 2, braid it as I would someone's hair. It's really that simple. I've never tried to make challah with 6 or more braids because that seems a little bit too scary for me. I braid all 4 of them and then it'll be time to put the eggwash on. The eggwash is simply the saved white from earlier and a whole egg. I leave the challah to rise in the oven for an hour, renewing the eggwash every 15 minutes so they don't dry out. The last 10 minutes I take them out to preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius. I add some sesame and poppy seeds. When the oven is hot, it's time to let the magic happen. Bake the challah for about 35 to 45 minutes until golden. And there you go. Shabbat Shalom.